is pollution caused by waste, because harmful greenhouse gases such as methane are in the air from landfills. And these greenhouse gases can damage the atmosphere. Reducing the amount of garbage that's being put into landfills by recycling can help decrease the amount of greenhouse gases released, protecting the atmosphere. Recycling also decreases deforestation, which is caused by cutting down trees that are needed to make paper and cardboard materials. Habitat destruction and global warming are harmful effects of deforestation that can be prevented by recycling. Recycling can also reduce the financial expenditure because making products from raw materials costs much more than if you made the products from recycled materials.
Okay, so this line graph indicates the rate by which per capita generation of municipal solid waste, which is non-recyclable trash, that's discarded in pounds per person per day, and total waste generation in million tons from 1960 to 2012. So in 2012, we generated 1.7 more pounds per person and 162.8 million tons more of waste than in 1960, which can be attributed to likely higher production and consumption over the years. And this line graph depicts waste recycling rates in the U.S. from 1960 to 2012 in both percentage and tons. And our recycling rate increased 28.1% from 1960 to 2012. And 81 million tons more of material was recycled, perhaps because the ideology of environmentalism has acted as a social movement that has encouraged sustainable behavior over the years. And this pie chart depicts the percentage of which different materials contribute to the municipal solid waste stream. So as you can see, paper and cardboard account for the most, followed by food waste, yard trimmings, plastics, materials, rubber, leather and textiles, wood, glass, and other materials.
So the EPA has given us some suggestions for waste reduction, such as source reduction, recycling, and composting. Source reduction is a type of waste prevention that helps reduce the amount of toxicity and waste by designing products with green incentives in mind. Composting involves collecting natural organic waste and storing it in proper conditions so it can be broken down and eventually used as fertilizer. This is a chart of yearly recycling rates on the Brockport campus. Beginning in 1990, Brockport had only recycled about 65 tons, which is approximately 13% of the total waste generated on campus. And while the percent waste recycled fluctuated throughout the years, it could be due to construction activities, which could have increased the amount of recycling. In 2011, we can see that the recycling rate is about 36%, which is greater than the national average.
Okay, so for the past 5 years, SUNY Brockport has made an effort to encourage sustainability on campus by participating in an 8-week-long recycling program called Recyclemania, which is a competition that acts as a benchmarking tool for college recycling programs in order to promote waste reduction activities and raise recycling awareness on campuses. So the program was founded in 2001, and this year we competed against 460 other universities in the U.S. and Canada. As a part of the program, from February 2nd through March 29th, trash and recycled material were collected weekly at the competing schools, and they were ranked in several categories, including the two that we competed in, the per capita classic and the gorilla category, as well as grand champion, waste minimization, paper, cardboard, bottles and cans, food service organics, electronics, and film plastics. And data from each week and even each year can be used by colleges as a measurement of how their recycling programs compare to other schools and how recycling rates can be increased. So the Per Capita Classic, which we participated in this year, focuses on the collection of paper, cardboard, bottles, and cans.
So for the Per Capita Classic this year, Brockport ranked 107 out of 328 schools, generating 11.319 pounds of recycling per person, which puts us in the 32nd percentile. For the gorilla category, Brockport ranked 138 out of 329 schools, generating about 97.6 thousand total pounds of recyclables, which would put Brockport in the 42nd percentile. In 2013, Brockport only ranked 273 out of 360 in the Per Capita Classic, and for the gorilla category, Brockport ranked 235 out of 364. This year, Brockport ranked higher in both categories, recycling a higher percentage of waste. As you can see, there's a big jump in numbers from last year to this year, and this could possibly be because of waste haulers provided our data this year versus estimations from facilities which we were using years before, as well as the extensive programming that Anna and I did during the Blast Education campaign.
Okay, so one question to consider regarding this data is why is our recycling rate fairly low, despite many of our sustainability activities that we see here. As a college, we act as kind of a microcosm or a mini city because we are very densely populated. So it's important that we're well managed and well operated because we are supporting this surrounding community. So it's really important to attempt to increase our recycling rates in order to do that. And compared to two other SUNY schools of similar size, Albany and Binghamton, we did perform better in the competition. Albany ranked 239 and Binghamton ranked 148 in the per capita classic compared to our 107, which is good for us. And of course, it will take plenty of exhaustive research to actually answer these questions, but they are really important to consider.
So Anna and I have used Recyclemania to get a clear insight on how much students are recycling in the dorms. And when we got this data, we used it to attempt to increase the recycling rate per person on campus through direct programming.
So in order to determine which dorm has the highest recycling rate, the custodial staff counted the recycling bins that students were asked to place outside of their rooms containing all of their paper and cardboard from the week on a weekly basis every Wednesday morning throughout Recyclemania. So Sarah and I conducted a Blast Education campaign with the help of members of ECOS and BASC employees in order to spread the word about Recyclemania, promote it, and educate students on the importance of sustainability on campus and recycling.
So during the midpoint of Recyclemania, there was 2 weeks which were like a programming period when we did our Blast Education campaign, and it included techniques such as tabling, social media, and door-to-door promotions. Tabling was when Anna and I sat at a table in either Brockport or Union for 2 hours, 3 days a week, and informed students about Recyclemania and their dorm status. Also at this time, students were asked to pledge to recycle under the 2014 America Recycles Day pledge online. Anna also went out just as Ellsworth and asked people if they recycled, and if they did, to take a picture down in the corner, I recycled to you sign. Also, Anna and I went door to door in our building, Mortimer, and reminded students to put their bins out on one Tuesday night during the Blast Education period. RAs were also asked to wear buttons every Tuesday night to help remind their residents that they need to put their bins out for Recyclemania, and RDs were contacted and asked to email their residents reminding them about Recyclemania to put their bins out every Tuesday night.
Okay, so this chart shows the recycling rates and averages for each dorm for each week, as well as their total average recycling rates for all weeks combined in percentages. So unfortunately, we weren't able to do the full 8 weeks as we hoped. Spring break happened to fall during the 7th week of Recyclemania, and then the custodial staff was unaware that we were continuing to do Recyclemania during the 8th week. So unfortunately, we only have data on 6 weeks, but it's still very telling. And there are some trends in the data. You can see that the recycling rate did increase pretty steadily. Unfortunately, during the 4th week, it dropped, and this is pretty much completely due to Dobson decreasing their rates about 40%. We can't be exactly sure why that happened, but we'll explain some potential reasons why later on. And you can also see that in week 5, Mortimer rates increased about 10%, and that's right after Sarah and I went door to door, so we're really excited to see that that did help. We also noticed that there was kind of a peer effect in this competition. If there was an RA or a resident on one floor that told all of the other residents to put their bins out, then the whole floor would do it, which is great. But if not, sometimes there would be an entire floor that didn't put their bins out. So word of mouth really did help during this competition.
So congratulations, Perry, who won this year with a 45.5% average recycling rate, and they are winning a $800 catered party from Burrito Fresco. Okay, so some potential reasons why our recycling rate did remain pretty low may have been because students did not know if they were supposed to place their bins outside on Tuesday nights, which is understandable. That's kind of hard to remember to do if you don't do it every week.
Another thing that I forgot to mention before is that the lower quad, they did participate, but they didn't participate enough to be competitors in this competition. And that maybe because they didn't know that part of the competition was placing your bin outside on Tuesday nights, so they were recycling, they just didn't participate in the way that we hoped, which is fine, hopefully next year. So paper and cardboard isn't significantly used in the dorms as college students. We use more plastic and containers. Some students struggle to separate their paper and cardboard from the other materials, which is understandable. Some students use their bins to hold items that weren't recyclable, and then once Tuesday rolled around, it was kind of difficult to clear out those other things and put it in their recycled material. Some students and staff may have been unaware that Recyclemania was going on. We could have done a lot more promotion, I'm sure. There is some uncertainty regarding what can be recycled on campus, which we're helping to educate students on. There is a shortage of custodial staff, so they weren't able to help with recycling as much as they wanted to. Some students may not have been interested in participating in Recyclemania, and some that we spoke to actually didn't have a recycling bin in their room, so we'll definitely need to get one.
So potential ways to improve the competition. We thought that maybe if we increased the amount of social media attention that Recyclemania was getting through posting updates and providing information on Facebook and Twitter, maybe rates would go up. We also thought if we asked for more feedback from students before and during the competition, we could have changed some things we've done and maybe helped increase the rates. We also thought that we could increase it if we had asked for more help from RAs in each building to remind the residents to put their bins out. And if tabling was done in maybe more populated places such as the mall or Harrison, and we had like fun games and better prizes to give out, that maybe more people would want to listen to what we had to say about recycling.
Okay, so one potential method to increase the recycling rate in general would be single-stream recycling, and this is a system in which all paper, plastic, metals, and other containers can be recycled together rather than the depositor having to consciously separate them. And then all the materials put into one collection truck, and then it's separated later on throughout the collection process. And we're hoping to implement this system here at Brockport next year, which will really improve recycling rates. It'll be a lot more convenient, and will probably improve the competition as well. So there are some rooms on campus in the middle quad. They have large bathtubs in them. They're called tub rooms by facilities. And the custodial staff has suggested that we transform these rooms into larger recycling rooms because the recycling rooms that we have now, the recycling bins in them are usually overflowing, and that could discourage a lot of residents from placing more material in them each week. We can also inform students and staff of some of the personal and the global benefits of recycling, which Sarah explained earlier. And we could create some different incentives for recycling. This year we chose to do burrito fresco for the competition. Maybe next year we could try something different and see if that changes anything. Corporate promotions really help to increase recycling rates. Wegmans, last year, the Wegmans customers recycled about 177,000 pounds of plastic bags. So this April, Wegmans will donate 50 cents for every additional pound recycled. And they'll donate that money to the Nature Conservancy, which is a conservation organization that hopes to protect lands and water. And we're actually doing that promotion here at Brockport during Earth Week, which starts on Monday, April 21st. There will be boxes on the main lobbies of all the dorms. You'll be able to put your plastic bags in there so it'll be recycled properly. And also Sun King recycles old electronics. And there is a Sun King here in Brockport on Main Street. And there's also drop-off stations at Volunteers of America and Goodwill.
So this is just a friendly reminder of all the things, some of the things that can be recycled from the Brockport campus. Glass, metal, plastic containers, labeled 1 through 7, clean plastic silverware, plastic bags at the store or during this Earth Week down at the lobby of each dorm, clean straws, clean pizza boxes, anything clean containers from Union, books, and magazines. There's separate recycling bins all around campus that are labeled for paper, plastic, glass, and aluminum. Books and magazines can be sold back to the bookstore or simply placed in one of the paper-labeled recycling bins. And like I said, plastic bags can be brought back to any big franchise such as Wegmans, Walmart, and Tops.
Okay, so we'd really like to thank ECOS and BAS for sponsoring Recyclemania this year. You guys really helped us a lot. And we also like to thank Brockport Facilities for counting all the bins and tracking data. And thank you to Burrito Fresco for providing services to Perry this year. We're all really excited for the party. So if you do care about the things that we talked about today, you can join ECOS, which is our environmental society here on campus. ECOS meets Fridays at 3:30 p.m. and daily 2:02.